Hey everyone, this is AestheticGamer, and today we're playing The Beginner's Guide. This is a game by the creators of Stanley Parable. It's supposed to be about an hour and a half to 2 hour experience. We'll see what we think of it. Let's go straight into the game, basically. Curious to see how this plays out. Please make sure audio is on. Well, yes, I can in fact hear audio. Controls, that is simple as pie. I can roll with it. Pie is actually not very simple to make, though.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Well, that's one way to word it. I'm going to do two things. First of all, since it seems like there's some dialogue going on here, I'm actually going to turn on closed captions. Yeah, okay, works for me. And I'm going to adjust some audio things. I'm fascinated. We'll go with it, though. I think video games have the ability to be multiple things. There's documentaries, for example, in real world in terms of films. I'll think of it like that, and I'll see how it rolls. Then again, Stanley Parable was deceptive. This may, in fact, be deceptive. So we'll see what we think of ourselves as we go into this. Well, it's a wide space, indeed. Warning, Whisper Machine status activated. Evacuate immediately. Of course. Rolling with it.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
There's no doors there. I'll roll with it there. I got there's like very little sound effect to the actual gun thing here, and boulders that we can't actually run past. Okay, we'll continue going forward to this. Warning, whisper machine status activate, evacuate immediately, fun times.
Security code breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
Okay, there's 2 doors. Did this one just
It
open?
kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development.
Oh.
For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shield evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this road.
That one doesn't have a line on it, so obviously you can't really pass through it. It makes me think of it.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, I want to explore it.
Or, if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Yep, doing just that. Let's see. Path. I'm gonna try to take my time. Yeah. If somebody wants to explore a labyrinth, of course it'd be me. Even though it looks like there's a lot of miscellaneous dead ends. I'm going to try and keep my directions in mind as I'm traveling. Yeah, I knew that was going to be a dead end once I realized what way it was twisting. Still, though, it makes me think of... I'm curious. As I said, I'm intrigued, to say the very least. Let's take a twist and turn there. I feel like it's going to loop me back. Yep. Oh, actually, no, I'll get back to my objective goal. If one wants to go on through... Kind of got myself turned around. That's bad when you're in a maze. The old loop around trick is a common one in the maze. That's why you're supposed to follow a wall, because they can only really loop you around so many times. One of the biggest guides to a maze is to say stick to a single wall, unless of course it branches off to be a singular wall. If you're on the outer wall and you follow the walls, you'll eventually find your way through the maze. But I should probably follow myself right now, so yeah. Being me, I wanted to explore the maze because I wanted to see if there was any way through there. I was here earlier, so that means the way out would be someplace around these parts, because I kind of remember certain imagery. It's gonna loop. Yep, I'm not wrong. Yep, let's gotta skip and turn. I probably shouldn't head back into the maze. It's fine though. One can find their way through a maze. It's gonna turn around. Yep, it's gonna turn around. One could have predicted that. Let's see if we can continue going deeper and deeper, straighter into this. This seems to be a lot of twists and turns. Is this one actually going to turn? Nope. I was kind of hopeful for a brief moment it was going to turn over that direction. Being me, I'm going to have to go backwards and explore these dumb mazes, because I love dumb mazes. When I was a kid, and I'm going to express this while I have a moment because the narrator seems to be an important part of the process, I used to adore mazes. When I used to design games at a certain point, because it's something which I actually haven't really talked too much about. I started making games when I was fucking 10, and I still have some. The oldest game I have is from back in 2004, 2005, I should mention. It's terrible, and I still have it, but I'm not going to link it for that very reason. But I have a soft spot in my heart for dumb mazes. Given that I think they could have done more with this maze to obviously make it more enticing than it is, but yeah. Did I actually find the right way? Yay! Progress.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey,
Engine room fun.
you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering a whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Do I have a choice to not give myself to the beam? Is the question. Like, what happens if I just stand around and I'll get myself to the beam here? Well, whatever. Human sacrifice. I'm tempted. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
This is not a branching point, unfortunately. Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay. Jumping to the beam. Oh. Well, that's space, alright. Hey, it's fine.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Gotta jump. I like how the maze looks so much smaller than it feels like when you're inside. If that's generally true of mazes. Mazes look small on the inside. The past was behind her. Oh.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Yep. I was about to say. The past was behind her. Oh dear. That's going to make a complication in some areas. Sure. Let's continue on our way. But the future could not be seen.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
Why does the future...
It is less advanced than
changing?
the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clear. Alright, I'm up for experimentation. That looks cool over here, but if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it? Oh, of course.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Still November of 2008. Ah, it's a light shadow deal, though the end of the world's over there. Let's continue walking. You are now entering... It's going to say the Twilight Zone. It's not going to say the Twilight Zone. They can't get away with that. Something, town, hill, dark...
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Okay, I'll roll with it. To December of 2008.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Well, it's a lot.
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Can I walk off the edge?
I know it's tempting, but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
Okay, time to go climb the staircase to heaven. I'm gonna do just that. It's a stairway. We can take it. I don't know, this is a weird comment. I kind of like this one, because the idea of just kind of an empty, barren world with a staircase, if there was more to it, I think it could be kind of interesting. Walk up said stairs. I don't know what it is about stairs. There's something that's kind of weird about them in gaming environments that I find them wholly fascinating. I think, come to think of it, there was the horror game SCP-87, which is all about stairs.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
You know what? No, I'm not going to take the challenge. I feel like I can jump up here. Let's go through. Yep. I'm not gonna cheat. Gotta beat the game as it was intended. Got a climb. Let's go up. You go a little bit faster when you're jumping. So I think I can make it without being tempted to press that enter button. Doesn't take a while. I'm almost there. Let's go. I got this. I'm almost at the top of the stairs. Let's go. We got this. The door's almost there. Not gonna get that speed up. No. Let's see. Yeah, this is as fast as the fatal characters go. No, just kidding. It's a little exaggerating. Here we go on the inside. Hey. You jump a little bit faster than this. Stand on an X, staring at a bear for 3 hours. A game where you collect items, except the game automatically quits when you collect them all. Live on a boat, taking orders from the captain. The captain is always one.
And nice, and filled with little ideas for games.
Chains, except one chair is floating. You start in a small room until you realize you can just walk through the walls.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Play as a pair of floating eyes, making footsteps noises. A button you press to stop the chaos that doesn't work. Press U to surrender. Ready, set, fish. I was hoping this is the one where you can start walking through the walls. But I can go fishing. We'll roll through. You think we're going to use ourselves as bait? I hope so. I'm really hoping so. We can just go into the halls right through there and we come to a door.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
That wasn't really much of a puzzle, but I'll take it. Let's see. Is there anything inside the dark? Oh, I think I get it. Aha!
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're going to see it a lot.
A lot of holes. Let's continue on crossing. If one has to jump through things... You know what? I'm gonna... Yeah. Let's see. Can I close the door? Can I close that door?
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Okay. I jump off into a direction.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Going into January, and here we are back here. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
The Great and the Lovely Descent. into the cabins in the middle of the white field, by which I mean it seems like
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Streetwise Fool.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
I've messed around with the Source engine a little bit, so yeah. Let's move on through to a stairway underneath the restaurant. I'm gonna try and see if I can jump over here. Nope, siree. Let's go on down the stairs. Big long ways down. Part of me is tempted to fall off. I'm gonna hold off for a second. If one must platform, let's go. I could probably, I'm gonna aim for that orange pillar there. Oh, missed it. Missed my chances. Oh. There's actually a bottom to this. Into a winding staircase to a light. I can roll with it. Let's take a look. You spiral around to the light. No, there's like a glass thing in the way. I guess that's the tube that we see above. Which leads into the deeper parts of this place. Can we look to the left or to the right? There was a noise. What does this gate make me think of? I guess it kind of makes me think of Niceonce, is what I'm immediately thinking of at the very least. Oh, I've been locked in. I guess that's fine. I'm locked into another gated area. Oh, it's an elevator. Okay, I didn't put that together quite yet. Let's go to the top and end up here. Except I can't walk off to the side, so I guess I'm going to jail.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Oh.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable. Whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I want to see if this area over here is open, but probably not. It looks like the gate's closed off, so okay. Let's go down. Down round to the bottom of this. This one's definitely a bit longer than the previous ones. Here we go, big old open area. And
it's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Guess we go down the hallway from the red checkerboard room. I want to say this, I'm intrigued, but this is because I think the reason why I personally find it intriguing is because I used to make a lot of dumb little games just for myself that I never really released from my own self-fulfillment. I'll talk more about that later, though, because I'm going to go through this in a moment and form my opinion as things go through. You there, did you come up from above?
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Yes, there is 3 floating coding blocks. There's a fire here. Hello, judgers of the galaxy here. You there, did you come up from above? What was up there? Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there was an enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. The whiteness one is the one which I would respond to, but still though. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did for coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through any puzzle. I prefer not to tell you. After all, we only just met. 3. What? But you don't understand. We are trapped here. That puzzle is our only escape. We need to get through it. You think you want to go through, but trust me, you don't. Let me describe it for you. Let me tell you all about what it is over there. Alright, I'll tell you how to solve it. I'll tell you how to solve it. Wonderful. Well, what is it? What is the answer? Please speak to me. Please tell me how to escape. Tell me how to free this prison. I must know. It's the most important thing. There must be an ending. Yeah. That's an intriguing piece of imagery, but I'll go over this way still. Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes, do you want to know how to solve it? No, it's been right here, I've been right here the entire time. I'll say this. No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would I care about the space between the doors? Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange that I passed through it. I don't recall space between the doors. I'll say 2. Actually, oh my. Rolling on through. We'll continue going on deeper in. I like the cute people.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Okay. With a long corridor, which I guess we'll see here at the very end here. School area.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Kicking into it. April 2009. We've had a jump. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. I don't believe you. We'll find out. Nice room. Not. Still, though. Let's go with
So
it.
first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
How do you beat this game? No point to this. That's a lot of messages. Whoa, holy shit. Can you guys hear me? Time to start going through the notes. Hello. Reasonable.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
Everyone read this.
Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
To find fun. Balls, of course, going on through.
But it's ironic, isn't it?
How
that
is there
in
wood,
playing this
grass, and
game
concrete
and
here?
seeing
What the
how
fuck?
alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him.
Do not be
I have to
afraid,
be honest
do
with
care.
you. This idea is really seductive to me. That I could
saw
just
a flying penguin.
play someone's
Let
game
me tell you, it
and
was
see the
most
voices in their head
majestic thing
and
I've
get to
ever
know them
seen.
better
I
and
don't
have to
feel
do
like
less of
living
the
because nothing will ever be as
messy
majestic as
in-person
that.
socializing.
I never want to
I
see
could just
again.
get to know you
Nothing
through
will
your
ever be
work.
beautiful again. I'm crying now. I plan to
I
rip
think
my
this
eyes
is why
out.
I always
must go
liked
now
Coda's
from
games
that.
so much, is because it felt like they let me have that
You
connection.
feel like a hero.
I felt as though he was inviting me personally
Cool
into
cavern,
his
bro.
world. And then I feel less
Running
lonely
out of
too.
space soon. It'll be insufferable. In a world full of notes, one man will read all of them. This summer, you will believe blue speech bubbles can talk. There are two main messages in this area. Why? Hey, can I type here? I'd rather be doing literally anything other than playing this. The guy over there wrote much wrong. I like how they gray out after you've actually read them. Okay, how did I get over there? Let's continue. I'm reading the goddamn notes because it's me, of course. What the shit is this cavern? Boring. I can assure you, guaranteed, that there is an acorn somewhere here in this place, and the sailors are looking for it. Ah, I'm comfy. Let's go there. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. I refuse to believe. But. I need to go to the frickin' bathroom. Recognize me, please. There's nothing here. Go back. Don't listen to that guy. A free t-shirt. Need other side door. Why you so? Door how open? Open sesame. Makes game, includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. Going on through. Some days I will meet the person who made this. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room. Do you hear the client or the chimes? They keep you going, don't they? I would like very much to be desired. Scared of writing something, don't want to feel judged. It's not very crowded here. A game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet? Don't bother. You can go in here. You can't go in here, I think. Welcome, congratulations. I don't really know where to go from this. I like reading things. This is where I get off. I failed to write anything here. I am compelled. Thanks for watching the video. I'd very much appreciate if you take a moment to consider donating to my Patreon, which I am using to try and make this more of a livelihood, not just for missed game videos, but little games I make in my own time, and to bring different types of videos to the channel. You can find the link for my Patreon in the description below, or in the video, obviously. If you'd be interested in seeing me recording gameplay videos and doing other things live, I stream quite regularly and record almost all my gameplay over at a site called Hitbox TV on my channel. You can also see that in the video currently. I hope you enjoyed the video, and adieu.